This story is about his birth, but also his enlightenment. He's sort of the Celtic Buddha who knows the secrets of reincarnation, of eternal life. And this spectacular tale is how it all began. And I warn you, I may get excited, and if I get excited, I may just pop down and run around the fire a bit. Yeah. And this seems very civilised compared to castle drumming. If you've seen me tell stories at castle, where we're all dancing around the fire, half naked, roasted red, and there's not as much light as this, and it's all chaotic. I've never managed to actually trip over. So here it feels far more safe and civilised. A long time ago, not in a galaxy far, far away, but in a place now called Wales, on a lovely Welsh mountainside, there lived a little boy, and his name was Gwion Bach. Does anyone here speak Welsh at all?
Not on a llawen, boy the weather. Means Happy New Year.
Diolch fawr gariad. I said, thank you, friend. Anyway, he was called Gwion Bach, and Bach means little Gwion. And he didn't show a lot of promise in life, so he was there just to herd the sheep and mind things. He was quite good at just looking after things. Anyway, what Gwion Bach did not know is that the stories of the great witch, the witch queen Caridwen, were not just stories, but they were true. And Caridwen was real. And when Gwion Bach was just a little boy, the great witch queen Caridwen, for the first time in her life, and we don't know how long her life was, centuries, perhaps millennia, she was one of these elder beings, great power. She was pregnant, she was with child. Who the father was, that's a mystery. And I don't know if he even lived to tell the tale. That'd be right with Caridwen, I can tell you. Anyway. And one night, she felt the labour pains, and the waters broke, they rushed down the mountainside and carved new streams and plunged as waterfalls into the river in the valley below. And the pain was great, and she sat under a huge ancient oak tree and moaned as the pains and contractions got more intense. And as that happened, a storm gathered in the sky, and there was thunder and lightning, and her cries of birth agony were punctuated by the thunder, and the flashes of lightning revealed for seconds her face contorted in agony. And then the cries stopped, and there was the feeble squawking of a newborn babe as the thunder rumbled into the distance. And the last few flashes of lightning revealed to Caridwen a terrible sight, for the newborn babe in her hands did not have fully formed legs, and there was nothing much below the joint of the knees, and the arms were twisted and stunted, and the eyes, of course babies don't open their eyes first thing, but she knew that the eyes on this little boy would never open. And sure enough, the little baby grew, and it feebly moved, and it moved close, and it fed its mother's breast, but it never opened its eyes. And she was heartbroken, and she said, my son, after all this time I decided to make a child, and this is all I could give you. And the name she gave him was Avagthi. Avagthi translates as total blackness, total darkness, because that's what the poor boy had to
And
endure.
lightning и total darkness. Нормально.
So she said, though you may be blind and not fully able, you'll never be a warrior, you may never marry. To compensate, I will make you the wisest man in all creation. And I will give you access to knowledge and power that no humans have. Because I am the witch queen, Karidwen. And so she did it. She gathered the ingredients for the potion of enlightenment. What were those ingredients? Well, even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. Anyway, you'd have to sign up for the retreat. Whatever the ingredients were, it took her a long time, an entire spring and summer to gather. And when it was all ready, when the days were shortening and the humans were down in the fields harvesting their last crops, Karidwen went to the top of the great mountain of the eagles, and there she made a huge fire. She cut down half a valley of great oak and ash trees and seasoned them. And on top of them, she put her giant silver cauldron and called forth the clouds and made it rain and filled the cauldron with water and these mysterious ingredients. She mixed around and she said some spells and the fire was lit. But there was a problem.
As always.
It'll be a very short story if there wasn't a problem. The problem was that this potion was so powerful and the cauldron so enormous that it would take a year and a day for it to cook. I can't be at this fire for a year and a day. I'm the witch queen, Karidwen. I've got things to do. People to transform into toads and kingdoms to destroy and new ones to give birth to. And I've got to get someone to look after the fire, but who's going to look after it? Humans, only humans can look after fire. I don't trust humans at all. Good reason. So I'll get this old blind man, yes, old Morvran, I'll get him. He could do with sitting by a fire. And she said, Morvran, it's me, Karidwen. Oh, Karidwen, do not harm me, said Morvran. I'm just an old man wanting to live out his life in peace. She says, I will give you a life not only of peace, but of complete luxury. You'll have everything you need, but you need to look after my fire for a year and a day on top of the Eagle Mountain. You'll be warm, you'll be sheltered. I'll look after you. Oh, I will do that, Lady Karidwen, said the old man. But hey, I'm just an old man. I need someone to look after me. I can't do that by myself anymore. Oh, you're right. You need a carer, she said. There was no NDIS then, so she looked around, and there, who's the stupidest, most innocent human that I can actually trust because they're so dumb and inexperienced? Ah, Guionbach, the little shepherd boy. Yes, little Guion. Guion, said Karidwen. Oh my God, don't kill me. All the stories are real. Karidwen, the arch-witch, was real. That's right, I'm real, said Karidwen, and I've got a job for you, boy. You go and look after the old man, look after the fire. And I command you, little boy, said the witch Karidwen, you must do everything the old man says. Keep the fire going, make sure the old man is well fed and watered. And whatever you do, don't you dare even look in that cauldron. Don't go near it. Don't touch the cauldron. Because if you do, I will give you a fate worse than death.
And of course he did.
So Karidwen went her way and flew off, and Guionbach promised on pain of death and worse that he would do everything the witch told him to do. And so They stoked the fire, they moved the ashes around, it kept them warm, they could cook things on the fire, it was Kedegwin had left them food and everything, and they didn't want for anything, and the old man chatted with the little boy, it was very nice, you know. They kept each other going, and it came into autumn and the skies darkened and the days shortened and the snow began to wet the top of the mountain, but the fire always kept them warm. And on one side of the huge cauldron there was always a sheltered spot where they could sleep and eat. And in the depths of winter, those long dark nights where the crows and the ravens scoured the craggy mountainside for the corpses and carcasses of things that had perished in the winter, little Gwion and the old man Morvran kept warm. And wasn't it beautiful when the nights spread out and the days got longer and the skylark began to sing and spring came and the hillsides were lit with beautiful white and purple flowers and still the fire kept them warm. And then spring turned to summer and the eagles flew and they watched the eagles hunting here and they watched the hawks catching birds on the wing. And the cauldron began to make a noise. The cauldron began to bubble. The potion was getting ready. "There, I hear that," said the old man. "What's it, Gwion? I can hear the potion bubbling." "Well, that's scary," said Gwion, the little boy. "It means that soon our year and a day will be over and we'll be free of this job of keeping this massive fire going around the cauldron." "Well, I'm bored," said Gwion. "I'm really over this. I've talked everything I've heard, every limerick this or every stupid old man joke I've heard them. Think dad jokes are bad. Try the 100-year-old man jokes. Anyway." But the old man said, "You know, look and tell me what you can see, because I've lost my sight." And Gwion was talking about all the things, the fluffy clouds, the light blue sky, the beautiful green, the cattle grazing on the hills, the pretty girls in the distance, herding the cows. But the cauldron bubbled and bubbled. And little Gwion looked up thinking, "I wonder what's going on." And he ran up close to the cauldron. And the edge where he was at, it began to bubble over, and a bubble on the surface popped. And through the air flew 3 drops of boiling hot potion. And where did they land? On Gwion Bach's thumb. And what do you do when hot liquid lands on your thumb? No, you don't run under the water for 20 minutes and get a bandage. You put it in your mouth. But what had Gwion Bach done? He had accidentally imbibed on his tongue not 1, not 2, but 3 drops of the potion of enlightenment, not meant for human beings.
Uh-oh.
So what happens to this little boy with the 3 drops of potion on his tongue? Ow! Ow! Wow. All of a sudden he looked up in the blue sky, but beyond the blue he knew there were planets and stars and asteroids and nebulae and quasars and black holes, all singing like a choir of billions, the song of the Creator. And he looked back to the edges of space and looked back billions of years in time, and he knew everything that had ever happened. And he could feel the breathing of billions of beings, the buzzing of billions of insects, the lifeblood, the mating, the killing, the dying, the very heartbeat of life, the heartbeat of the earth, the rhythm of the universe, everything that was happening in the moment. The little boy knew it all. It was too much to bear. He thought he was going to die, as if that wasn't enough. Before him, time melted away. And Gwion Bach could see everything that was to come ever. He knew everything.
Wow.
And it was almost too much to bear. But it was so beautiful for a moment. because he knew everything, he knew that Ceridwen knew that he had drunk 3 drops of the potion, and she was very angry, and her anger got out of control, and her magical anger meant that the cauldron boiled and boiled, and the fire was not being put out, and the cauldron shook, and it exploded, and all this horrible black boiling potion ran down the mountain, burning and destroying everything in its path. But not little Gwion. Holy hell! Gwion began to run. He could run faster than the potion. And he could tell that she was coming. He could feel her anger, her rage rippling across the air. Gwion Bach, you idiot! A year and a day it took me to make that potion. That was for my son, not for you. I didn't mean it, miss, I didn't. But she wasn't going to listen. This was a fate worse than death that awaited him. But suddenly, of course, he knew everything. So she was coming after him, but I'm going to turn into a mountain hare, and I'm going to run across the mountain and see you later. You'll never catch me. I love being a hare. I've got 4 legs and floppy ears. Woohoo! And I can hide in the grass, I can leap and jump, she'll never get anywhere near me. But then he heard this noise behind him. She turned into a wolfhound with big long legs bounding across. Oh, my little hare legs, my little hare heart, it's going to give out, it's going to give out. I'm for the sprint, not the marathon. What am I going to do? Oh, I know everything. I turn into a little bird. And I fly into the air. Now, I don't know if birds can hold up a middle finger, but somehow he's like, it's so good. Imagine being a bird. I am a bird. I can be anything. I know everything. But then a shadow went across the sun, and something was flying in an arc towards him. For Ceridwen had turned herself into a sparrowhawk. Oh no! Sparrowhawks hunt little birds, and she's got like terminal velocity. I'm gonna die. What am I gonna do? Oh! And he folded up his wings and said, "Change." And he dropped down out of the sky until he splashed into a mountain stream and into a river in the valley. He swam a great big silver salmon. I know everything, and sparrowhawks can't go underwater. See ya! Woo! Off I go down the rapids. Ninja! And then he heard a splash, and above him was this big swirling shadow. It was her, all furry, with big sharp teeth and black eyes. She turned herself into an otter. Oh no! I'm just a salmon. I'm going to be breakfast for that horrible witch. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I've been a hare, I've been a bird, I've been a salmon. I'm running out of animal types here. Plants? No, that's no good. Or maybe actually plants. What can I do? Oh, hang on. In front of me, there's a water wheel. I must be at a water mill. I'll jump on one of the rungs of the wheel and I'll flip up out of the water into the window of the water mill. And what is happening inside the mill? You've got to be old school to know this stuff, guys. There were 2 big stones that look like donuts. And the top donut goes round and round, and the water wheel makes it go round and round. And what does it grind up between the donut stones? Wheat grains. That's right. It was grinding wheat into flour, and the water was turning it. Great old early medieval technology, you know. Anyway, so he flapped and slapped around as a fish, and he saw a pile of wheat grains, millions of them, ready to be ground. Change! He changed from a fish into a grain of wheat. Pity there weren't possums then. Anyway, don't you get any ideas, all right? But the box of carrots, that's what I'd go for. One of them isn't an ancient Welsh poet, though, then you're in trouble. So, anyway, so he lay there, one little grain of wheat among millions.
Oh, look, she's feeding the possum.
Don't distract people from the story. Anyone can feed a possum. There's enough carrots, we can all do it. Okay, so one little grain of wheat among millions. Ha! I'm so smart. She'll never look at that otter, look at the big sweaty, slimy, hairy otter, like, what's she gonna do with a pile of grains of wheat? She could be there forever, and otters don't even eat wheat. I'm just gonna kick back and whittle myself down among this pile of grains of wheat and just chill, and she'll go away. But as a grain of wheat, what's the last thing you want to hear when you're trying to hide from the most powerful witch in the universe? You hear this noise. And yes, Ceridwen had turned herself into a big fat hen and started pecking up the grain. And she didn't stop. What, she got the munchies or something? Oh no! And she pecked and she pecked and she pecked and she pecked and she pecked, and yes, finally, as the hen pecked up the grains, got him, said the hen. She had swallowed the little boy in the form of a grain of wheat, and there was no getting away. No getting away. So what happened? Well, he went down the gullet inside her belly. Of course, she didn't want to stay as a chicken. She turned back into her original form. But to her horror, that little seed was growing in her womb. I can't believe it. That little bastard, that little rat bag that ruined the potion for my blind, disabled son, is now a child growing in my womb. Well, this was very difficult. And inside the womb, little Gwion experienced many things. He felt the mother's rage and pain and hate and all those things. He knew her thoughts. But other things happened in there as well, in that darkness. Things I can't quite even tell you now. But the power and the wisdom and the knowledge of the little boy deepened in the womb of the greatest witch in the universe. And after a while, he was becoming peaceful and serene. And even those angry thoughts he could feel in the womb with her saying, the moment he's born, I'm going to tear him to shreds and feed him to the ravens at sunrise. He was serene, and he waited and he waited until the 9 moons had gone. And as the next moon rose, there was a shaking and a shuddering in the dark world the boy was in. It was the contractions and the labour pains again. And under that same oak tree, Ceridwen lay in the agony of birth, alone, with no midwife, with the raging skies and gathering storms, as the thunder rumbled and the lightning flashed. And the heavens caught glimpses of her face contorted in agony and rage. And then the cries of agony stopped, the thunder receded, and in the last little flashes of lightning, she held up the little baby who had just come from her body. And when she beheld this baby, all of her rage vanished, because a little light was shining from the middle of his forehead, a white light so pure, so strong. That light touched Ceridwen's very soul. And she said, I cannot kill this beautiful thing, but nor can I keep him. I must surrender him to a power even greater than me. And she got her most sacred bag made of the skin of a crane. That's a big bird with long legs and a long beak. Crane skin bags, very shamanic item in Celtic mythology. She wrapped him tight and warm in a crane skin bag, and with a one howl, she threw him into the mountain stream. And in that little bag, the baby bounced down the rapids, down the waterfalls, perfectly safe, down the mountain stream to the river in the valley. And the baby floated along under the beautiful starlight and the rising moon. It was the month of Beltane. When the river slowed down to a great big pool, there was a weir that humans had stopped up to do the fishing. And there, in the middle of the night with his fishing rod, was a prince. It was Prince Elfin, the son of the king of the castle of Degunwy just up the hill. And he was there with his servants, and the night was still, and the servants were bored. I hate this. Why did I have to get rostered on for Elfred's bloody Beltane fishing trip when we could be back at the castle, drinking wine and chasing servant girls? Shut up, said Elfin. Be quiet. This is a silent fishing trip. This is a sacred evening. Yes, sire. Wait, said Elfin. Wait, I've got something. And the servants looked, and the rod was bending. My God, he's caught something. He's never caught something before. We always go home empty-handed. No, get the hook, get the net, get the hook. I need this is a big one. Oh, what's he got now? An old boot? It's probably a hollow log, or God forbid he's dredged up a cauldron of sacrificial weapons of our ancestors. Well, I'll be cursed. And out of the water, on the end of the fishing hook, caught in the little net, was this bag. What the hell is this, said the servants. Help me get it out, said Elfin. Ah, said the servants. There's something moving inside. It's probably maggots eating a corpse or something. Don't worry. No, said Elfin. Let us open the bag. Oh my gods, said Elfin. And all the servants came to look into this bag, and out of the bag there shone a beam of pure white light. And when they all looked, the white light was coming from the third eye of a tiny newborn baby. Ah, said Elfin in his native language. Ah, Taliesin. Tal, the brow, the third eye. Yesin, radiant. Oh, this radiant brown one. But if that wasn't freaky enough, the newborn baby began to speak. Ah, blessings upon you, Prince Elfin. On this Beltane Eve, you have named me Taliesin, and that is what I shall be called. I am the wisest of all humankind. The potion of Caridwen I drank against her will. I was supposed to be the guardian, and 3 drops was my fill, and she chased me with intent to kill, but I did transform myself into a hare and fled. But she made herself into a hound, and I sped through the air as a little bird, but she became a sparrowhawk and came after me, and all that was left was to swap my wings for fins and plunge beneath the rapids. But she became an otter and pursued me more, till I rode the water wheel of a mill and transformed into grain, and she into a hen and pecked at every one until, alas, she swallowed me, and I drifted down into her dark womb for 9 moons of darkness and hardship, of things I cannot even tell, the things I knew, all that was occurring, all that had happened in the past and all that was to come in the future. It was more than I could bear. My seat is in the castle of the Zodiac and the 12 signs of Bailey. I know the secrets of where the sun sets. I know the shepherd who brings the stars out to graze every night and who draws them in again. I know the heartbeat of the earth, the fiery secrets within me. I am the master of knowledge and of poetry. I am a fountain of creativity, never to be stopped up. And you shall take me to the king and introduce me as the primary chief bard of all of Britain. Anyone know what a bard is? Not just Shakespeare. Who wants to have a go?
A musician who tells stories and mythology through their work, and they're storytellers.
It's pretty good. Yes, they are there to preserve all of the lore, the memory and the wisdom, and to be able to compose at a moment's notice sometimes magnificent verse and song. Preservers of knowledge, inspirers, and they had a lot more than that because they were also those who could work with unseen powers and such like. So, the work of a bard is not just music and words, it's the work of the soul. And Taliesin was taken into the royal court, and there was a king, drunk on his 5th jug of wine. Oh, look at that, that's Prince Alfred coming from his fishing trip. Had enough of your son. What did you get this year? An old boot? No, father, I got this. And he opened the bag, and there was the newborn baby. He began to speak and say, I am the primary chief bard of the island, born of Caridwen, the arch witch, the most powerful witch of the universe. I have shifted shape and been pursued by her and swallowed by her, and 9 moons in her womb, and I know all the thoughts of all beings. I know all that has ever happened and all that will ever come in the future. And I am here to be the counselor of kings and the protector of the magical barrier around this island and all the secrets of the land therein. People in the future will give me the title, the Merlin, but you shall call me Taliesin. The end. So Deep Purple named one of their albums the Book of Taliesin. So to read hundreds of pages in Old Welsh on acid must have been quite an achievement, I think. Yeah, so yeah, like the name does pop up, and there's reams of poetry, some of the oldest poetry, and the language is the indigenous language of Britain, and he's like the Celtic Buddha, so that's the first story of his life. And the title is The Merlin, so you've heard of Merlin the Magician.
I think
So
you
that's-
were a bard.
Yeah, I'm a sort of 21st century version, yeah. I haven't reincarnated in the womb of a chicken yet, but yeah.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
It's a great pleasure, thank you.
Wow.
That was better than a movie.